After Shalom was born, 2 weeks later, we found out that he had Down syndrome. It was obviously a shock, and a lot of the thought process went, how is this child going to grow up? Is he ever going to get married? Is he going to have friends? Where is he going to go to school? How is the outside world going to look at me and our 3 other children?
I do think that your mind does go to, is he ever going to get married? Is he ever going to get out of the house? I think your mind does go to that, but we immediately focus on what seems like little things now, but at the time it was, can we get him to ride a bike? Can we get him to do kind of the things that other children do?
When the doctor said, we really can't tell you what Josh's future is going to be like, I don't think I understood at that point just how difficult it was going to be.
The neonatologist on call told me that they thought she was going to be a vegetable. Working with some ENT specialists, they were going back and forth as to whether she would need a tracheostomy, whether she would ever breathe on her own, whether she would ever be able to eat on her own, will she be able to walk? It was just a gigantic question mark, and pretty traumatic as a first-time mom.
Michaeli, when he was young, didn't have a lot of patience, and sometimes if we would go someplace with other children, he would just be difficult to kind of get to relax, and unfamiliar circumstances were difficult for him, especially when he was young.
In school, throughout his school years, he had a lot of friends, and then what happened is, as he began to get older, he was excluded from all these opportunities to socialize. And once high school was over, it was almost like there was no social life left for him.
You know, being that he's not a regular developing child, occupying his time when he's not in school is a challenge.
We're kind of very limited in our ability to do the things that normal families might do with their children. We always had to worry about where Michaeli would be and who would be taking care of him if we left.
Sarah needs help laying out her clothes. She needs help getting her lunch together. You just need to be constantly present, which is hard.
There was a point in our lives where matters were very, very difficult. Things were impossible to deal with on our own.
And that's when I started to think about who's going to be around for Josh if I'm not here. Libenu has completely eliminated all the anxiety and stress and fear about Josh's future.
Respite, to me, is a life changer. It means I can focus my attention on my other children. It means I can focus my attention on myself. It saves my life, and it helps me plan out the rest of the week. It is literally life-changing.
Libenu allows us to think in a different way about the future, because it's just allowed us to be much more flexible in our own plans and do things with our children and grandchildren that we weren't able to do before.
It's a tremendous relief for both, I think, Shalom and the family, that he is very well taken care of and he's having fun, and the family can attend to the needs of the other children.
One of the biggest positives that we've seen in Sarah, especially after when she comes home from Lev, is her pride in what she's accomplished. She loves to show us her projects, or she likes to tell us about what she did, where she went.
Why, after I moved into Libenu, it made me feel more independent, more powerful, and more creative.
We've seen him develop a group of friends. The people he lives with, the young men that he lives with, are very close with Josh. He's interested in things that are happening. He's involved socially, and he doesn't really want to come home that much anymore.
When he's out with Libenu in Jul, we'll have people come up to us and say, I was in the grocery, I was in the synagogue, and Michaeli came up to me, and he knew who I was, and he wanted to sit next to me, or he wanted me to say hello, and it's good for the people in the community, it's good for him.
Josh was walking with a walker. He was called up to make the blessing on the Torah. So he walked up, and it took a tremendous amount of effort And one of the congregants turned to me afterwards and said how unbelievable it is that we have this young man who struggles and still was able to get up there and do that. How much more so do I need to incorporate that type of effort in my own life?
They're bringing a tremendous awareness to the community and teaching the community that our children belong here.
The fact that they are engaged in life and that they're happy and that they've created these relationships, seeing the joy that's created by giving, you realize you're giving these people this opportunity to be launched and take that next step, and how exciting for them.
The community is at large just amazing. Inclusion, because everyone belongs. Libenu is the same thing. Everyone really does belong in Libenu.
You affect one family, it affects the next family, it affects the next family, and so it's a ripple effect. And so I think the community can be very proud of supporting an organization like Libenu, and this is a lifetime of support, and so this is an organization that needs to be supported for a very long time.
Insofar as Sarah's future, being that she's already 18 and we're thinking about residential living and what the future holds for her, we're so grateful that Libenu is here for us, and to have a place like that in existence makes me feel so hopeful and so grateful.
Libenu has grown in many directions, and I hope we can keep up with it, because God knows that the community is full of people that can use this help.
I view each individual that lives with us as a jewel in a crown. Each jewel in the crown is an integral part of that crown. And if one jewel falls out, just one, the entire crown is diminished in value. That's the way I look at our community. If we lose one family because we couldn't provide service for their child, our entire community is diminished in value.